Sorry, Charlie. All right, so we're doing a little bonus add-on. I felt like you were waking up this morning listening to a football-centric podcast. You want to know how we feel about last night's clash of NFC powers, so we decided late night to hop on and share in Charlie's misery. I got a cup of apple juice ready to sip it and listen to you cry.
I'm not miserable. This is a short week coming off a team that was gifted Micah Parsons. This is the type of on the road in a place where road teams don't traditionally win. They are dominant on both sides of the ball on the front seven and their offensive line. And this is the type of game where if the Commanders won, it would have been a huge deal. But losing, not a big deal. We don't want to peak in September.
I believe. So I remember what we recorded earlier today. So
and by the way, what you listen to later, I cannot be held responsible for.
Don't cut me off. Now, I was about to let them know that it's going to be really funny to listen to the rest of this show, given this context that I assume we're putting at the top.
Look,
but I believe
the worst game of Jaden Daniels' professional career. What we're gonna call this? It's fine. This was like This would be an A+. This would be an A+ Caleb game.
I thought you were gonna be tired. I was ready to carry this, and you won't shut up. I was just saying, I was about to reference the fact that I'm old, but I hang around young people like you, and I believe that the young people call this cope, right? That's what it's called? You're coping right now? This
copium.
is called cope.
Yeah.
Copium. You are high on copium. Like, the reason why it feels like a slightly bigger issue, and I feel like this is something that's recurring for us. We might need to add this to the box of maxims, is when what you are expecting the problem to be is the problem, it feels a little worse.
So let's go through all these problems.
Well, before we get to the problems, I think we should
go to Micah. Micah Parsons.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Unbelievable.
My Jesus.
He is unbelievable. The Packers are a problem. I mean, look, are they peaking too early? Maybe. Who knows? Are we ready? Are they going to be a January team? But Micah, he's in the backfield. They showed a graphic on Thursday Night Football of his bend of his shin and ankle flexion next to Derek Thomas, and it was like, this guy is not human. He's even better than he was in Dallas.
Yeah, it's oof.
And Jordan Love, I called you Joe Flacco later in the show. You are so good.
Don't ruin it because it's gonna be so funny.
But the offensive line is also so good. They're great on both sides of the ball.
I mean, I picked Washington to win this game because I believed that what their D-line did last week was not because they were going against a bad offensive line. I think it was part of it, but I just thought that their D-line was that good, and they weren't tonight against this Packers team. And the Packers ran, though. It feels like kind of a theme of week one, and I know we're into week two, but the Packers ran the ball well. I don't know what the final numbers were. I don't think they were crazy impressive, but they had important runs to put them in third and short and third and medium more often than the Commanders, because they both weren't great on third and long situations, but those third and short and third and mediums, they were better in part because they had Micah, man.
I mean, the Packers could have won this game by even more. The first half was so dominant. I mean, what was the first quarter? It was 146 yards to 6 or something like that. I mean, I have a couple winners and losers for you.
Oh, you were ready for this. I wasn't expecting you to be this prepared. I thought that I just thought you'd be sad and grumpy and not. You got winners and losers? Give them to me.
Yeah. Number one winner, the Detroit Lions.
Now they don't look as bad. Now we're like, so this is a good combo for them. The Packers dominate this game, and now they need to win. That would help. I got a question for you, though. I want to name this, and maybe we'll come back to it later, but something that the Packers do, and a lot of good teams do, we've talked about this before, they save plays for when they need them, both offensively and defensively, and the Packers did that on both sides of the ball tonight, and I don't know what it's called. We'll come back to it later.
When did they need them?
No, I mean when they wanted to put the game away, like they pulled out plays that they hadn't run all game, and not just the like wildcat. There were other plays in there that I was like, oh, I ain't seen that all night. So I mean, you know how I feel.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I get you.
I get you. I was gonna say, you know exactly how I feel about the Amazon broadcast because I can get the next gen, the all 22. Oh, so much better. Like Roger. Just get us next gen view on all the broadcasts. All right, back to your winners and losers.
Next winner is Tucker Kraft. I think he announced to a lot of people that he's sort of like a Kittle 2.0 type player.
These primetime games, man, like we're going to be talking about Tucker Kraft for the rest of the season in a way that like only nerds were talking about, or not even nerds, but like football junkies and Packers fans were talking about before now. But like now going forward, Tucker Kraft is going to be considered a game plan threat. All right.
And by the way, you could obviously put Micah Parsons and Jordan Love in winners. I'm not doing that's
boring.
Yeah. Jeff Hafley, huge winner.
Oh.
I feel like this guy is destined to be a head coach. People mocked him because of BC's defense not being that good. Like he is.
Did I say that on this show or Get Up that I might have said it on both shows that I thought Micah Parsons is going to make a lot of people money, including Jeff Hafley is going to be a head coach really soon because of Micah Parsons.
But like legitimately, what happened against the Lions also happened against the Commanders. They couldn't throw the ball past the line of scrimmage in the first half. Like there was so much pressure on that team.
And as a result of it, like Knicks and the other corners, like again, with the next gen view, you can see the whole field. And these dudes are not leaving their back pedal. They're not backing up at corner. They're just sitting there. And Jaden Daniels, they did not fear Jaden Daniels' biggest threat, which is the deep ball. And of course it's scrambling.
He couldn't get the ball. He couldn't let it route develop.
And so the coverage was incredible, but in part of the reason why the coverage was incredible was Micah Parsons was their safety. It was like, we don't have to worry about anyone over top because y'all not going to have time to get there. It was insane. And then on third downs, like it seemed like their plan on third downs, on the third and longs in particular, was they know that you guys are going to chip Micah Parsons. So we've talked about this too, is like, one of the benefits of having a player like this is we know that you guys are going to send whatever help you have to that player. So they line up Mike on one side, and you know that he's going to have to chip, which keeps a guy in a little slower. But it also tells us that if we run the blitz away, we'll get a free runner because you're not going to be able to do both. But anyway, just watching all this happen, and then for the Commanders to adjust, and then the Packers go with a show blitz and only send 4. And when they only sent 4, they were eating. Like, it's just, y'all ain't stand a chance, man. They were.
The only Commanders
Cliff
winner,
ain't had no answers, man.
Yeah, well, he's giving me my losers. The only winner I do want to give is Deebo Samuel. Legitimately looks rejuvenated. Like his yak and the
too,
he looks like he's ready to go. Losers. Josh Connerly's the first one. I know he's like 20 years old and he's a first round pick, and like you're 20-year-olds going against someone like Micah Parsons in their second game is very unfortunate. Granted, Armand Membu in his debut for the Jets had the highest PFF grade against TJ Watt, so it's like it is possible. But so like we're not giving up on Connerly, but my fear, like he got beaten like a rented mule by Micah Parsons tonight, and the fear is what A.J. Brown did to Emmanuel Forbes, Micah Parsons might have just done to Josh Connerly. I don't think that's the case, but it's always possible. The next loser is Cliff Kingsbury. Like, he coached like he had a dump in his pants. Like, let's just be clear. Cliff had a dump in his pants.
I mean, obviously it's negative, but it's not a literal thing. Like, it just, I don't know how you coach like a dump. Does that mean that you're conservative?
Dump it off to the flat over and over again.
Oh, okay. I don't think that was Cliff's play. I think that was Jaden's reaction to what was happening. But yeah, he coached like he had a
horizontal air raid. First two possessions, it was just run the ball in first down, run the ball in second down,
and not get anything.
Yeah. Third biggest loser is just Commanders' depth. Losing Dietrich Wise and Eckler to what looked like serious injuries. Yeah. We're now thin at running back again after the Brian Thomas trade. We were hoping that this rebuilt defensive line was going to be like a powerful unit. So those are the big winners and losers. Like, look, honestly, long term, I'm not just doing this as cope. Like, the Commanders are going to be good because Jaden Daniels is an unbelievable football player, and like, if they are a tier below the Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC, that is okay, and that's because of a talent deficiency, and like the team needs to improve over the course of the season because like the offense is not taking people by surprise the way it was last year, and the Packers just physically look like it was men versus boys in the front seven on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and Jaden, I think, I don't know, maybe could be wrong. Maybe I'll feel silly saying this when I've had some sleep. But, like, he just always looks comfortable and calm and cool. And even though he didn't put up numbers or play particularly well, this is the type of game that could get out of hand. They were outmatched. Yeah. And a quarterback could get panicky and have bad plays. And he never really had those, like, traumatic plays to make this thing get completely out of hand. They couldn't get a stop when they needed them. And they missed field goals. Like, I don't think that they are as far away as it felt. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of having a guy like that is he's always going to keep you in a situation. And they didn't even keep you close, but, like, it makes this team feel like they're better than they are, which I guess is silly. They're better than their collection of talent in part because that quarterback is just so, like, smart and calm.
Yeah. And look, this is hands down the worst game of his professional career.
That's insane. It wasn't even that bad of a game.
Yeah, and and part of it's like we're focusing on the Commanders because I'm a Commanders fan, but like this Packers team is unbelievably good. They look people talked about that offensive line going into the year in terms that were very similar to the way that people talk about Philly and Detroit's offensive lines in years past. And like that was on full display. They dominated the line of scrimmage in a way that's like very unusual for the NFL. And that's to take nothing away from what you said. The defensive backs, wide receivers, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs running the ball. It's a very complete team with excellent coaches on both sides. LaFleur and Hafley are awesome.
Yeah, and the talent is awesome. Goody Mane doing his thing as usual. Lil Goody got that roster full of talent. They still don't seem to have the receiver that they need, which may become a problem at some point.
I guess Tucker Kraft's their number one receiver, and Golden got loose on the one really bad play that Jordan Love had. Like he was open by 10 yards.
Yeah, there were two of them I thought where he had Golden open and he missed them. So I guess that's not fair. Maybe Golden will turn into that guy, but to make this team feel like complete, I think that's the last thing they need because you know how I feel like.
Yeah, you need explosives.
Yeah, you need a receiver that scares the defense. And tight ends can move the chains, but for the most part, tight ends aren't going to break the back of the defense, which you need somebody who can do that, which I think maybe Golden will turn into that player. But
yeah,
I guess we can close out, or well, not close out, before we get to Mina Kimes and the rest of this stuff, we should. How do you feel about the Packers in relation to the Eagles? I guess is the only thing that matters.
It's so that's so hard to say right now because you see them play this game and you're like, the Packers are the best team in the NFL. Like that,
this game,
genuinely.
It's not only that's right. It's not only this game. It's coming after week one and having this as their follow up performance.
Inherently, though, I totally get that impulse, but inherently, it kind of only matters what happens when they play each other for that.
You think they're both so good that you have to see them matched up.
Yeah, and the talent gap is noticeable compared to the rest of the NFC teams we've seen in the first week of the season in this game.
Yeah. Do they play?
I'm sorry, I don't have a hotter take for you on that.
No, I don't want to. I don't want a hotter take. I mean, I think that's a fine answer to the question. I was trying to figure out how I felt about it as I asked you, and I don't know that I feel any different. I think you obviously have to give the benefit of the doubt to the defending Super Bowl champions, but by the end of the season, it's just this Micah Parsons fella, like that fella there. I was trying to figure out a way to like quantify how impactful he is because he wasn't out there all the time, but it felt like every time he was out there, it went like he was the sun of that play. Like everything, if they were going to have success, it was going to be determined by how they handled Micah Parsons. And if they weren't, it was going to be determined by how Micah Parsons. Like it's just a weird situation that rarely happens because most defensive players that are that good are on the field all the time. And he just was coming out there fresh. And I'm not even sure if I would change it if I were them going forward because he was destroying.
I know
Tunsil held him up like twice, I think. And
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, nice job, Laramie. But nah.
I genuinely think, like, I don't mean this as disrespect to Myles Garrett, who I know is like the most complete defensive lineman in the NFL. The way that Parsons has played the last 2 weeks, like with his chase down sack on Goff and what he did tonight in all of the pressures last week, like through these 2 weeks, he is playing at a level as a pass rusher and as a defensive lineman that seems like incredibly rare. Like it seems close to game wrecking wise, and these are crazy names, and I know they did it differently, but it feels like he's game wrecking at a level of J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald through the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's not just the sacks. It's not just, I guess it is the sacks and the pressures, but like last week, the interception that he helped cause because they changed the coverage when he beat his lineman in less than 2 seconds. So Jared Goff is dropping back, not seeing, like it looks like zero at the snap. And then it goes to cover 2 with a middle safety coming down to play the hook and steal it. And Jared Goff can't see that because Micah Parsons in his face. And there was a number, again, because of the next gen view, I can see everything. There were a number of times where I thought there were open people, but Micah's in the backfield causing havoc. And again, there's a number of times where the corner's coverage is so aggressive. Maybe they were doing that last year. Maybe they were doing it before Micah Parsons was there, but you can't make them pay. So we're in scary hours with Micah Parsons, fresh Micah Parsons. So they need to keep him healthy and make sure he impacts these games going forward.
I saw Stugatz tweeted that if the Packers win the Super Bowl, they should build a statue to Jerry Jones outside of Lambeau.
That's a good tweet. Quality tweet, Stoogie. All right. That was fun. Sorry, but you still feel good about your team now?
Yeah, it's fine. Right. I can't freak out after every game.
Yeah, cool. All right, Kimes time.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. We are joined, as we are always weekly, by Mina Kimes on this special episode. And, of course, Charlie Kravitz is here. Being fake confident for some reason. I don't get it. Why can't you just be honest with your friends? You don't really believe in your team.
My team being the Washington Commanders, who by the time you're listening to this will have hopefully beaten the Green Bay Packers. And Domonique doesn't believe that I believe in Jaden Daniels, who I don't understand why you don't believe that I would believe in someone who is unbelievable.
I believe that you believe in him. I just don't believe that when the chips fall and it's a tight game situation, you won't revert back to assuming that your team will destroy it. As someone who's not like a fan of a team to that degree, I guess I don't know. But Mina, I feel like it takes longer than one season to lose whatever you're like. If the Seahawks offensive line all of a sudden was just awesome, you wouldn't be like, hey, I believe after just one game of awesomeness from the Seahawks O-line.
I think quarterbacks have a way of just instilling misplaced confidence in their fan base that is different, though, from offensive line dominance. I say that I'm tentative here because I know this is coming out after the game. But Jaden Danielson, it's hard for me to not ride for him now. So treading carefully.
Mina, I didn't know if I was allowed to text that to you and Pablo. And then I saw your tweet saying that appeared in the Asian group chats. And I was like, okay.
No,
that still doesn't mean that you can text it.
Yeah.
I told Domonique if your quarterback has a QBR above 90, then you're automatically in. It doesn't even matter how. You could be like a great grandfather twice removed, maybe shaky.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, should we do our show?
Let's do it.
Into the show. Sorry, thank you, Mina, for standing up for the fact that you're right. Jaden Daniels instills more confidence than Charles Cross.
It's not the point. You last week you were nervous. You were texting me during the game, or whatever. Get to the show. Set it up. Do your job.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna bring back a format that we did some last year, which is we're gonna go through our favorite parts of the weekend slate in a preview. We're each gonna have a good game, a good bad game, because there's no bad games in the NFL. Even the games that are quote unquote bad games, they're good to us. And we're going to each present one of those. And then at the end, have a special bad game, because there's one this week. But Mina, you're up first. What's your good game of the week? The one that we know is on the slate, everyone's excited for, and it should be high quality with two good teams.
I already know what your bad game is. I feel like I can guess it right away. I'm going to go with the Super Bowl rematch. I got first pick, so this was easy. I feel like it was going to be, it'd be a good game regardless. Obviously, it's the Super Bowl team, but I don't think either fan base feels great. Obviously, the Chiefs having lost week 1, and even though the Eagles won, they didn't win convincingly enough over Dallas I feel like the vibes were off. Jalen Carter is back for this game, so it feels there's like a little bit of tension and necessity in this game that I don't think would have existed if both teams looked as dominant as we thought they would week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jalen Carter being missing might be, or him returning might be the difference in that defense, but I think that was like a major concerning point for the Cowboys until like the rain delays. It seemed like the Cowboys were unstoppable. Of course, Dak is a good quarterback, but they didn't play against Dak last year, but they destroyed the Cowboys offense with that D-line all last year. They don't have the same guys up front. And I think there's already some Adoree Jackson concern.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess I watched the game, and of course, maybe I'm a little bit partial to
the first quarter, though. They kept showing him on the sideline. Part of that's the
yeah,
TV
but I didn't think it was fair. Like
that's totally. But I'm saying that the trepidation is because it was presented to us.
So I mean, I understand why you might be concerned about Adoree Jackson headed into the season, and in that game, he wasn't a shutdown corner, but I don't know. He didn't play so poorly that I thought that there should be like some sustained concern. But maybe that's just me being biased and like opening a window for my cornerbacks, shooting my cornerbacks a little bit of bail. What do you think, Mina?
Well, I think Adoree Jackson's going to look a lot better this week because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs offense, who forget, like, do you have a wide receiver 2? They don't have a wide receiver 1 who can attack Philadelphia. So it feels like a get-right opportunity for the Eagles defense. I'm very...
That, by the way, that's crazy. Can we sit in that for a second? Playing against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is now a get-right opportunity.
For corners, specifically.
Yes, I'm saying for the corners, yeah. I think the Chiefs will still be able to move the ball because Mahomes will scramble underneath, and I think Kelsey will get his. But yeah, they just don't have receivers on this team. They're missing. I'm far more worried about the Chiefs defense than the Chiefs offense going into this one because Steve Spagnuolo versus Jalen Hurts, he's going to send pressure, part because they can't really get pressure with a 4-man rush. You saw that week 1 as well. But then the problem, I think, that you really saw last week, Domonique, I'm sure you have thoughts on this, is when they do send pressure, typically I think of this Steve Spagnuolo defense and I think about all the creative blitzes that they run. It feels like on the back end, they communicate really well and they're in a position to handle that, I suppose. And it felt like when they were sending pressure, you just had major coverage busts, easy opportunities for the Chargers to attack through the air. So I worry about them against this Eagles offense, pardon me, if they have to send pressure.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. And the pressure, the pressure not getting home is a problem because if you're going to send some pressure and play zone in behind, which is what the Chiefs like to do, the zone's going to work because the pressure gets home. Like you don't have enough players to run like some perfect zone. So the zone will work because the pressure gets home. If the pressure doesn't get there, and then there's more opportunity for the pressure or the coverage to break down, or for the quarterback to find the weakness in the zone. Which, there's no reason to blitz if you're not going to get there. And this team wasn't, to your point, they weren't getting there in a 4-man rush, so then you have to blitz. And then if you're not going to get there too, it was oftentimes which I would assume that with a sophisticated defense, if they're going to send a blocker or they're going to send pressure and the back picks it up, the person who's guarding the back, who's responsible for the back, has to add on, and they weren't doing it. So they were getting a 2-for-1 almost every time they blitzed. The Chargers were.
Yeah, and so let's pair this with the fact that in week 1, Cowboys-Eagles, the Cowboys played 0 snaps of man coverage. Mm-hmm. And part of that we attributed that fact to part of the lack of explosive passing game from Jalen Hurts, where A.J. Brown didn't get the ball. That became a story despite the fact that they got that win. There was a weird game. But knowing what we know now, against this Chiefs defense where there are legitimate questions, do you guys think that we'll get a more explosive passing performance from Hurts this week, also knowing the squeaky wheel, A.J. Brown probably needs to get the ball at some point?
I think so. But I think more importantly than the explosiveness is just giving Hurts answers versus the blitz. Because the Cowboys, you mentioned they didn't play, they zone blitzed him a few times. And honestly, it kind of worked, early until it didn't. So I think that's the challenge for Kevin Patullo, right? Who's their new offensive coordinator, against Steve Spagnuolo, is like equipping Hurts against those pressures. Because if he knows where to go with the ball and they're able to pick him up, they should shred him. They don't need to be explosive to do that.
Yeah.
But the question is, of course, whether or not that he can equip him to do so.
I was surprised that the Cowboys didn't blitz a lot earlier and a lot more often, because that was the big thing with Hurts, is being able to put him in that situation to challenge him. When they did, it started to work. I don't think Steve Spagnuolo will wait long enough for that to be a problem. Like, we're going to see it early, I would guess. And I assume, to your point, you want to see if Jalen Hurts is given answers and finds those answers quickly, because Spags blitzes are designed to confuse you. And the half second it takes you to figure out where the weakness is, then the pressure should get there, or you force it into a tough spot. But one of the reasons why A.J. Brown wasn't as much in the situation is it's very kind of simple offense that they run, and that we're going to run the ball until we force you into man coverage, and then we'll have A.J. Brown. Like, that's a simple version of, I guess, what it seems like the Eagles are trying to do. And I didn't see them run a lot of RPOs, which I would surprise. When you get a lot of zone and you have the talent that they have, like, the RPO puts people in conflict. And so I'll be interested to see if they break that out this week, combined with some answers to the blitz. But I also want to see what the Chiefs cook up to try to attack this offense, because even if it doesn't work for them, it'll be a page that other people will take and put in their playbooks as a way to attack this Eagles defense, because people respect Andy Reid so much.
Yeah. So I don't want to sit too long in this game, but I do have a couple more questions on top of that. Speaking of that, the pass rush, do you think, what does the Darius Smith add to this group? Like, he was more than rotational depth at that point. And some of the moves Howie's made, you can look at him in two ways. Like, he good, I want him. Like, Tank Bigsby's not getting enough playing time. F it, he can be our kick returner and spell Saquon when he needs it. So Darius Smith feels much more intentional based on what we saw last week. Do you see that as just a depth piece? Someone like how Von Miller's moved around the league the last couple of years of being like, I'm a depth pass rusher. Is he going to be more for this group in Philly?
I think just depth is my read on it. I mean, I think, all these Howie moves are kind of like around the fringes of the roster, saying, ooh, we need more running back depth. Ooh, we need more pass rush depth. I don't think at this point in his career he's looking at Smith as, like, I mean, apparently they made a call on Micah Parsons, which is hilarious. I don't think he thinks he's like a needle mover that way. Yeah. Pass rush was a bit of a letdown. I mean, Dominique, you said at the top, like, they didn't have Jalen Carter. Okay, but wow. Like, is that like, I know Jalen Carter's probably the most important player in the defense. I don't know if I thought he was that important per se, to the extent where,
We talked about this in the offseason, how it felt like they were in transition from being a defensive line-centric defense to being like a secondary Ravens-style centric defense. And we saw it in week one that they're not going to get the pressure. And the Cowboys aren't like some all-time great, or they aren't the 90s Cowboys O-line. So, like, I don't imagine – I know Jalen Carter will change it.
Yeah. This is their best defensive player.
Yeah, he'll change it, but I do think that they're entering the season planning on a defense that's not predicated on the 4-man rush getting home.
I mean, the Cowboys also ran on them. That was really shocking. But
part of that has to be that Jordan Davis played way more snaps than they anticipated going to that game.
He played well, though. He was like one of the few players who actually I thought was impactful.
Also, brilliant. Jalen Carter just gave the playbook. If you're going to spit, you got to spit before a single play has been played. So it's that your 1 game suspension is before you played a snap. But let's move on to the next one. Dominique, what's your good game of the week?
It's a Monday night game. So I got the Bucs and the Texans. I'm really looking forward to that game. Most importantly, the Texans defense is so good. And they actually was surprised at the way that they blitzed a lot more than I expected them to, or at least a lot more than they did last year. So and played a lot more aggressive man coverage. And the coverage wasn't perfect, but they still are incredible defense. Like, those ends going up against a center playing tackle, because the Bucs I assume they'll do it again. Yeah. Graham Barton, their center, they moved out to tackle to replace Tristan Wirfs, who is still out. And of course, they won the game, so I'm assuming they're going to put Barton out there again, and they hope they give him help with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Like, this D-line is really, really good.
Doesn't it feel though like every Texans game now is just going to be like, can our D-line play better than our offensive line plays bad, right? Like, that's, I mean, that's clearly the case. It really is that simple. So, yeah, I think you make a really good point about the Bucs offensive line being in transition and this being a very challenging matchup compared to what they faced last week with Atlanta. But on the flip side, I actually thought the Bucs pass rush looked pretty damn good last week. Yaya Diaby, Hassan Reddick, and this freaking Texans offensive line, it looks exactly the same. So
it looks worse through week one. It just seemed terrible.
I don't know. Like, it makes it really hard to pick Texans games. The defense still, we talked about this on my show. Like, Matthew Stafford put up crazy numbers, right? Go back and watch that game. He was making like unconscious throws. It wasn't, guys were not open. That's the thing. Usually, so like you could put up a stat line off of play action. It was mostly play action, right? So usually when you're hitting explosive off play action, it's because guys are wide open and the play action is working. Right. Puka Nacua had like bodies draped on him. He's just unbelievable. And Matthew Stafford was just throwing dots. So the Texans defense has not lost a step. They're awesome.
There was like I watched all of Stingley's reps pretty closely, and there was a what was it, like a throw behind on a fade that was just an excellent throw, and then there was this one pass where Stafford is rolling right, and I think they're in a cover 2, and Stingley just doesn't think that he has the ability to make this throw, and he just rips a ridiculous throw back across his body, back to the left side of the field, right in the perfect spot between, like, in the honey hole of that zone. I just was like,
I know.
I don't know how your back is going to hold up.
When you
it's
like,
just like laughing.
You know, like the defense. When you watch that on tape as defense, you're like, eh. Sometimes he just beats you. Like but yeah, like this one's tough because I was just so discouraged by the Texans offense week 1. Bucs offense also didn't look that great, to be honest. But
Ibuka.
Yeah, great player.
That's my analysis.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Mecca Buka.
He looks great.
Yeah. You have to assume they'll run the ball a little bit better with Bucky Irving in moving forward than they did in week 1.
Moving forward, maybe not this week.
I was gonna say this week. I'm on the Texans in this one.
Interesting. All right, my good game of the week is it's 2 0-1 teams, but I'm fascinated by it, so I'm putting it up here. It's Bears at Lions.
It's a great game. There's no shame in this one.
So I want to ask you guys, because there's been so much talk in really negative terms about how Caleb played in week 1, but also about how the Lions looked without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. And there's the insult stat that's been floating around that's like, without a play caller named Sean McVay or Ben Johnson, Jared Goff is 3-17-1 in his career as a starter.
Wait, is insult stat a thing?
Yeah. I was new to me, so I didn't know
term, Charlie. That's
internet term.
No, I think you just made that
that's
up.
not my term. No, I did not. It's that's internet term.
I've never seen that. Insult stat is what it's called.
It's like, when those little floating insult stat graphics, they're great. I love a good insult stat. That's kind of like my entire ethos. But
insult stat.
But which from when I look at this game, I want to ask you about the offenses. Which offense has more to show you this weekend that you think could really right the ship? Detroit or Chicago?
It's Detroit for me. Because Chicago, I expected it to look like that, right? Like, it's very much a work in progress. The run game was bad. Dominique and I talked about it the next morning. I think it's going to take a second. Detroit, that makes you nervous because it was a combination of the interior of the offensive line looking bad, and the offense didn't feel creative in the way it did with Ben Johnson. It felt quite predictable to me, Dominique, watching them, and that made me a little concerned.
Everything in their offense stems from their ability to run the ball.
Yeah.
And if they can't run the ball, then you can't get creative. And I guess you can find creative ways to run the ball. You can find creative ways to manufacture plays, but I don't feel like that's a sustainable system going forward. If they are going to have some sustainable competitive offense, they're going to have to run the ball. It's plain and simple. I haven't seen this team operate successfully in any other way, and any of their big losses or rough games offensively were a result of them not having the ability to run the ball, which leads to 3rd and 9s, which leads to pinning your ears back and blitzing golf and turnovers like that. This offense feels like it is so sturdy in so many ways, but it's also pretty flimsy because it has like a center stone that if it's not there, all this stuff falls apart. I think some of these other top teams can find different ways, but because of their personnel, I don't know that they can. And then on top of it, I don't think we're going to find out how good or bad their offense is being coordinated if they can't run the ball. And so, like, I don't know. I'm fine with being critical of the coordinator switch, but I just feel like, honestly, and maybe that's a result of the change, but honestly, this offense just is not going to be good if they can't run the ball.
But like, how much of that, I guess, you don't have faith in the personnel being able to fix that? Like, is it?
Yeah. I know. I think that's why I agree with Mina that that's what you need to see more. It's like this team has enough talent that I have like some hope and faith in them.
Yeah. Also,
the interior offensive line.
Green Bay might have the best defense in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they do. I think, I'm still have got Houston and Denver there, but like, holy crap. Right. So this might be this is why this game is so good to me, Charlie, because I want to learn more about Detroit. Like, I want to learn, okay, should I be worried about this offense, or did you just run into a buzzsaw? Right. That's why week 2 is so great, because you actually kind of figure some stuff out, because I think Green Bay is just so stacked.
So on the other side of that, because I mean, I think there was so much, like, we learned so many, the normal fan learned so many names of interior offensive linemen from the Lions last week that became just immediately Sunday household names. But from the Bears of it, what do you want to see from the Bears to make it seem like they're on the right track? Because there was the one Caleb drive and then the rest of the game.
There's a few things. I think just consistency from Caleb. It was just so up and down in terms of the accuracy. You'd want to see, like, he made some unbelievably high degree of difficulty throws, and then he missed a couple of routine ones, I thought. So that's something you want to see. I mean, to kind of echo what you just said, Charlie, like, they spent big on their interior offensive line too. Show me, right? Because it didn't look like it week 1. They were getting their butts kicked by Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. So this Lions defensive tackle group is hurt, and I think they should play better. But this is another one where, like, show me that the investment you made in the interior of the offensive line was worth it, particularly in the run game, because it was so bad last week or this week.
Put the ball where you want it to go. Like, just consistently throw it where you want it to go. Like, that was the most alarming thing after like taking a step back at this, is like, I don't know. I mean, there are some things about his decision making that he needs to address, but none of that matters if you can't put it more consistently where you want it to be. And that accuracy is so important. And all the freakish athleticism and all that stuff, or as freakish as a stretch, but like the impressive athleticism that he pulls out, like,
I think you can call it freakish, the throw to the sideline to Dunze. Yes. When there are only a couple other guys in the world that can make it, freakish counts.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated. I'm on Caleb watch. People call me a hater for and a Jaden Daniels stand for being fascinated by it, but
you are a hater.
Whatever. He was the most ballyhooed prospect in like a half decade. Like, give me a break.
You hear it. I hear it in your voice. Right. Being upset about someone's level of ballyhoodness is the definition of a hater.
I'm just a fan. I'm just a Commanders fan. All right, Mina, what's your good bad game of the week? Or bad good game? I don't know. Good bad. Let's go with good bad.
I went with Bills Jets.
I think this is a good game for the record. But I'm fine with it here, but I like this game.
I feel like before week 1, no Jets game would have ever been given the designation of a good game. But week 1, and Dominique and I talked about this, was eye-opening for me watching the Jets offense. And I'm interested in this game because the Bills just got ran through.
Yeah.
And by an option rushing attack. Week 1, the Jets looked unbelievable on the ground. So let's see if they can make this a little spicier than perhaps we would have thought. I think Josh Allen will be able to, get his on his side. I'm interested. Jets offense, do it again, because
Tanner Angstrom in his bag.
Justin Fields in his bag. Breece Hall in his bag. The Jets offensive line in their bag. So yeah, I think they have the potential to make this interesting.
So many bags.
Yeah, it's serious bag work.
I think one of the things we walked away with from week 1 of the regular season is just that the Bills, I think, have distracted us from their defense. Well, they haven't distracted Mina, clearly, but because they won that game in such miraculous fashion, it kind of erases your memory of like how that game was actually going.
Yes.
It's like, that game was going in a direction where, and the way that it change wasn't like all of a sudden their defense is great. It's they did what they've done in the past is like the turnovers at opportune times make you think that this team.
And a really weird last possession called by Monken. It was
I know, but I'm saying that was well, their defense got to stop there. So that's a fair point, but I don't feel great about their defense, and I think being able to see them in this matchup will help us.
I agree, but also like I'm just going to speak from the fan perspective here. It gives me pause to compare Breece Hall and Justin Fields to Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, because that's like the greatest conflict for defense we've ever seen running the ball.
Yes, but boy, when I've been back and watched some of those Bills run defense reps, it's really bad. And it wasn't just Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, just bad angles, bad run fits, bad communications, guys misplaying it just terribly. So we don't need the Jets' run game to be Ravens quality. If they're even like top 6, and they sure look like it week 1, that's a problem for not just the Bills, for a lot of defenses.
Yeah, that was the thing that jumped out about some of those big Derrick Henry runs is I get your point. Like Derrick Henry, he's pretty fast, but like they're just all out of their own gaps and like allowing him to get a full head of steam. That's the result of them getting blown off the ball.
49-yard run.
And of course he dribbles the safety and that's what we focus on, or he runs through a tackle when he's in the secondary and we focus on that. But like how he got there is like the more concerning part. What?
It's just it's been bothering you for a week how Derrick Henry dribbled that
safety.
It
was so disrespectful. It's so funny.
I hate it. Derrick Henry dribbles defensive backs routinely.
I don't understand why you hate it.
Because I just hate it. It just I don't know. It's nice, but I hate it.
I know, but we'll just go low, little scud missile.
Agreed. That's how I would tackle, but that's not how they tackle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be. I think the Jets being this fun offensively, like. I think it's just very interesting. If it just does feel like this system is very good for Fields, and
wouldn't that be a torpedo, like a Scud missile?
Sure,
like a torpedo.
I'm not an artillery expert.
Well, then get a better analogy. One you understand.
Domonique, what's your good bad game?
My good bad game is the Jags going to the Bengals.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I like this one. I have a lot of thoughts.
All right, I'll be quick. Travis Hunter, man. Like, I think that the way that they deployed him in week 1, and I think Charlie made a good point that had he caught that one pass that J.C. Horn intercepted, we'd be talking about this differently, but he didn't catch that pass, and Trevor Lawrence was not able to connect with Brian Thomas Jr. in any way, and it felt like the way that they were using Travis Hunter offensively, I didn't love it. It was like very Amon-Ra St. Brown-esque, which is like we're going to put him in a slot and let him work underneath. And like I get the theory behind it is we want to get the ball in his hands and let him get busy. But I didn't really like the way that it panned out because we were getting hit a bunch. And then the one deep route that he ran, he was getting open, but like the way that he approached the safety and put his head fake on. Like, it just didn't look like the super athlete that I wanted it to be. And then, of course, defense, he was like non-existent, only 6 snaps, and they say they're going to play a lot more snaps this week. So
play this week to guard Higgins and Chase, potentially.
So I obviously,
Chase,
I still have faith in Travis Hunter, and he can be this two-way guy that impacts the game. I want to see it happen. This is the game where we should see it happen.
I am not at all buying the Bengals defense from week 1 against Cincinnati. And I think against Cleveland, pardon me.
Against Cleveland.
And there's a real opportunity here, I think, for this Jags offense to take off because they were good against a very bad Panthers defense, to be fair. But I see like there's a vision there for, I think, actually like a pretty great offense this year. And Domonique, you hit part of it, which is, I think, the utilization of Travis Hunter. But I also was so impressed by how they ran the football in that game with the 2 tight end stuff they were doing. And I think that's something that they can do against Cincinnati to make this pretty competitive. The Bengals did not look good to me week 1 at all. Bengals offense.
I think that's fair. Did they had 1 first down in the second half?
I mean,
7 yards in the second half?
What? I was told if they played in the preseason, everybody was signed to contracts. They were going to break offensive records this year. So yeah, there's this one I've got on upset watch. Like I was really tempted to pick Jacksonville in this, and it's gonna be a sneaky good game.
I mean, I agree that it could be a sneaky good game. I still got some Trevor Lawrence concerns, man. Like, I had some issues with some of the accuracy on some of the throws, some of the decisions he made. And like, we do this often where I wish that I could erase the score from my memory and watch these games in a way that is completely honest. But like, it's hard to, but then when you go back and look at it and you're like, was this great?
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like, I think that's what I was hoping for, is like we'd have some Liam Cohen effect that, where it didn't seem like he had gotten that much better. But again, it's all early. So like, that's part of this, is we're going up against this defense that we don't think is great. I want to see Trevor Lawrence like be great, have a great game one of these times.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, your guys are been Jaguar centric. Meaning, the one thing, I don't have as many concerns about Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense figuring it out. I know that the playing in the preseason was supposed to fix all of it, but Domonique, you know about how preseason reps aren't everything, and Burrow seems to figure it out every year offensively. I do share the concerns about their defense, but I wouldn't be surprised if even if it's not this week, 3 or 4 or whatever, Burrow and Chase and Higgins and Chase Brown find a way to create like a very explosive offense, because he just seems to be that good. It seems impossible to hold down that offense for too long.
It doesn't seem like they get a ton of like creativity, which is fine because they're productive. And that's the thing. When their offense doesn't play well, I'm always a little bit like, help them out. But I guess it's probably, you don't want to mix it up too much for a team that can be as good as they are. But like, that's the thing that I hate, is like, it feels like they're still running the same. There's no like evolution or variation of this offense from when they first got Joe Burrow, which like, I get it. He's great.
He's really good.
Yeah. But I guess it's not a criticism, just an observation.
No, yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, it's the simplified thing. Have Joe Burrow get the ball to Jamar Chase. Your offense will be okay. My good, bad game. Broncos at Colts.
This is a good one.
You could make this a good game after week 1. Like, well, maybe the best defense in the NFL. The Colts, who were surprisingly, Domonique's playoff team Colts, who were surprisingly good week 1. And like, there are a few questions I have for this one. But the first one I want to ask you, Mina, as you were both the head of the Sam Darnold hive, and he is now your quarterback. Is Daniel Jones this year's Sam Darnold?
Boy, we about to find out this week. That's why I like this game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do it against Denver, right? I mean, that's why week 2 is great. Week 1 is Darnold is Daniel Jones rejuvenated, or is the Dolphins defense just booty? Probably the answer is a little bit of both. But listen, if he's even above average this week against Denver, then I'm in on Indy, because all the offseason I was saying I actually really thought this defense was going to take a leap, and they looked fantastic. Lou Anarumo, new pieces in the back end. I like Latu, as a kind of making the leap guy. So Daniel Jones doesn't have to be what he was week 1. He just has to be competent for this team to be a contender. And we are about to learn a lot because he's going against the Denver Broncos.
Especially if Bo Nix has a repeat performance, because that's the big question. We all know that the Broncos are one of those teams that are a very attractive team for people to choose, because Bo Nix was a good rookie quarterback, and that defense was incredible, and like the expectation was he'd have to be better, and it's reasonable. Second year, more comfortable, you'd be better. He was so much worse in this first game.
Yeah, it was rough.
And we'll see, I guess. Like, that's a good opportunity against a defense that's like not the Texans, but still good enough defense.
Good game. So, I mean,
challenging.
Here's what concerns me about that is it took me a second to get to the Broncos Titans. The Titans defense was all over Bo Nix's stuff. Right, like they knew exactly what Sean Payton wanted to run with him, because it was similar to last year. This Colts defense looks well coached, and they've got one of the best whatever you think about Lou Anarumo and those Bengals defense last year, that dude knows how to game plan for a quarterback. So I'm just this one gave me a little bit of pause.
Upset alert?
I'm a little nervous. I ended up picking Denver just because I think their defense is overwhelmingly the best unit in this game. But
get it to the fourth quarter and let Danny Dimes take over.
Yeah. Baby. It's Dimes time. My bad game of the week. I'm fascinated by this one.
Niners Saints.
No, Pat's Dolphins.
I
Wow.
thought because of Mac Jones. I thought you were going to say Kyle Shanahan finally gets to start Mac Jones.
I mean, that's the Barnwell Bowl. I don't know if you saw. He's been Bill's been reposting his tweet being like, "I'm not going to insult Mac Jones in case he ends up on the 49ers and looks good in Kyle Shanahan's system." So that one we'll save for Bill for Sunday night. No, Pat's Dolphins. The Pats are underdogs in Miami. Does that I don't understand it. Yeah.
I understand it.
Yeah, it's in Miami. The defense looked bad.
Yeah.
No Christian Gonzalez.
They both look bad. I mean, I think the big question out of this game is, for me at least, is Drake, like Drake May and
gotta win this one.
And Mike Vrabel.
QB wins are a stat on this one.
It's not even that QB wins are a stat or not. It's that they just look bad, and we all assume that they wouldn't be like competing for the title or the conference or the division, but they at least would look better than they did last year, and they did not. And so we'll see if he takes a step towards being a quarterback who we think is a keeper, or he is like, hey, I'm a guy who has high highs and low lows. So I don't know. I think that's a big question. And of course, for the Dolphins, like,
it could be so over after this week.
Yeah, that's what I was
beyond over.
I don't actually have any questions for the Dolphins. I just hope that like they put together something serviceable and respectable, because if they have back-to-back weeks against like presumably winnable games where they look,
it's over. Yeah,
it's like there's like. If they have a bad week a really bad week this week, like you're going to be tuning into Pablo Torre Finds Out, listening to Dan Soder and Mike McDaniel tell stories about each other with Pablo. And
I was going to say, you thought Rex Ryan, Nerd Boy, was bad. Imagine the kind of insults he's going to come up with if.
Oh my God, what was that? That was so funny.
Rex Ryan, I mean, I don't think he's a creative play caller or blitz designer, but I don't think he's a creative insulter. Nerd Boy might be the best of his game. I don't know what else he got.
PFT commenter speculated that Rex Ryan's going to call him McBrainials if he's bad this week, and McBrainials is hilarious. But yeah, no, it'll just be really over for that Dolphins team. All right, guys, we have one more thing to do before we get out of here. Mina, it's your favorite time of the week.
Oh, okay, hold on, let me pull up this.
It's our Survivor pool.
What happened last week?
We won. I can't remember who Mina picked. Who'd you pick last week, Mina?
You're supposed to keep track of this. You're the producer, not me. I don't know.
You lost.
I think I picked the Cardinals because that's what I picked in my.
No, we picked the Cardinals.
Oh, hold on. Let me look.
We both picked the Cardinals. While you look this up,
this is great podcasting.
I demand I demand.
I'll keep track of this.
Charlie, you bring up the debate that you created earlier in the day.
Oh, I was debating if we should, if me and Domonique should pick the Commanders, and you would know by the time.
Not that debate. The Joe Flacco debate.
Mina, I think you're gonna give me a ton of for this, but I in my bravado about the Commanders, I said that Jordan Love is the modern day Joe Flacco, and that he can get so hot they can beat anyone, but there's a constant question of whether or not he's elite.
And I was like, no.
He said that was insulting to Jordan Love.
And I was saying that if you told Jordan Love that, he would experience that as an insult. Whether you mean it as one or not, Jordan Love's there's no way.
Played one season. Like you can't put any
2 seasons.
Or sorry, 2. Yeah, my bad. You're right. It is way too early to kind of apply that sort of designation to him. I think I picked the Bengals. Sorry, I'm just looking at last week's schedule, and
you did.
Okay,
that sounds right.
That feels right.
No, you picked the Steelers over the Jets.
Did I?
So you still have the Bengals.
Woo!
Yeah, you picked the Steelers over the Jets.
Close one.
Nice.
Dang. Okay.
All right.
So how does this work
week
again?
2. You can pick whoever you want.
Okay.
Except for the Steelers.
Okay, so I just can't pick my own team because you had those weird rules last year where like nobody could pick any team. That I don't know, it made no sense.
No, you can
pick
anyone.
The rules were clear. We put them in print. You signed it, and we all understood it. It never changed multiple times throughout the season in order to give us the lead.
Okay.
You can pick anyone but the
Steelers.
Steelers.
All right, I'm looking at the schedule right now. I will take the Rams over the Titans. Yeah, that's my pick.
Nice.
Love
Rams.
So, Domonique, who do we want? We have a bunch of options. Here's what we could do. We could take the Chargers over the Raiders.
Okay, we can't take
We could take the Broncos over the Colts. We could take the Ravens over the Browns. That's an easy one. The Ravens aren't going to go 0-2. Or, do you want to put them on the table?
Mandos?
We're going to put them on the table.
Put them on the table, man.
You could take the Commanders over the Packers.
I love the way the board fell for us. Thank God Mina left us the Commanders to have. This is the easiest thing of the whole season.
You've been talking about how you are.
Aren't you? Doesn't this come out after Thursday Night Football?
Yes, so you'll know. By the time you're listening to this, you'll know.
I love it.
That actually makes it funny. That makes it funnier.
I'm so happy because I thought that you were just fake bravado.
So
you picked him.
You picked him. If you're wrong, it's over. That's how Survivor Leagues work. It doesn't keep going. You don't get to reset after you lose. Keeps going. We got to keep it score.
You don't think that we get 2 lives? There are 2 of us. You get 1 life.
You gotta
hate this.
Find your own green mushroom. Find your own green mushroom.
This is hands down the best fantasy league I do.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm sorry you hate it. We love you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to all of our great producers. Thank you also, Charlie. Paul Bill, I love you. We out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.